Hi everyone, it's me again. My name is Rhoda, and we are back again with Abundantly You. We took 2 weeks off, and we're back today. I have an amazing guest with me here today, and you will so love to hear from her. And before I do introduce my guest, do make sure that you subscribe to this channel and share this video as well with other people. And without much ado, I want to welcome um, Devyne. I think I've pronounced your name properly. I am so sorry if I haven't. So I will bring on Devyne and she will share with us about herself and what she does.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Also, you pronounced my name perfectly. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, I wasn't sure and I was like, I'm just gonna roll with it. If it's not, she's going to correct me. How are you doing today?
It's been a very busy morning, but we're here. I'm very, very excited
Yep,
to speak with you.
exactly. So thank you so much for making time to be here today. I know that you're in the States, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yes,
very early in the morning for you, right?
yes, it is 9 a.m. currently. I've been up since like 5, 6 though.
That is
So
crazy. Okay, so we'll get into all of that juicy stuff. Sorry, I was just adjusting my camera so that I can be a lot closer and I can see you properly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so Devyne, thank you
yes.
so much for making time once again. Please share about yourself. Tell us more about yourself. Who is Devyne? What does she do? How does she manage her day-to-day life and all of that good stuff?
Um, well, let me say this first and foremost. My life is a movie, so every day is different. But I'm Devyne. You're watching. Hi. I am a recording artist and serial entrepreneur. I am the vice president of a business consulting company. I'm the founder and CEO of a music production company, and then I'm the owner of a luxury clothing brand on top of being a hip hop recording artist. So I'm fairly, like my life is crazy. 3 businesses, a career. It's kind of, again, little gets a little hectic, but I love it. I love what I do. And they all intertwine in some form or fashion. Fashion, music, business, they have some sort of correlation, and I can like mix
Definitely.
up and do whatever I want with them. So that's what I love. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry about that. No, hold on. Wait a
That's
minute. Turn my notifications off. My laptop doesn't do it. Yeah. I always got a million people texting me. That's my life though. I always have a million people texting me, a million people looking for something, a million people that I work with. So yeah, and then as far as just my schedule, as far as just everything goes with that, time management is very, very crazy. Um and I do have to like have designated days where I work on certain businesses. So one day I may be working on the music production company, the other day I may be working on the luxury clothing brand. I have to have a million meetings.
Yeah,
Um and if you're one like me, even if you have one business, you know the ins and outs of having to do everything and trying to get teams together and oversee all the operations. It's a lot. So yeah.
it is. It is. But we make it work. So
Mhm.
that's what it is. We do make it work. And I think as women, we tend to forget how we can multitask and how good we are at it. And it just sounds like you're that kind of a person. You're always multitasking. You're always on the
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Um, so so tell me about how you grew up and kind of like what led you to what you're doing today. Give us a little background of who Devyne is before we get into the meaty, juicy stuff.
Okay. So, well, I'm very open about my age and where I grew up. So, first and foremost, currently I'm 17 years old. I will be I
Okay.
will be 18 in 2 months. But I grew up really, really.
This is so cool. So you're the youngest person I've interviewed on
Yeah,
here.
I'm
Just
always the youngest in everything I do. And I'm very open about different subjects. I'm very people tell me like I'm not my age mentally, like I'm very like up there, but
you're not so
I try to keep a mixture of okay, let me I gotta move like an adult, but at the same time, let me enjoy my youth.
Mm, mm,
I grew up very, very fast. I'm from Chicago originally, but I do reside in Memphis, Tennessee. However, I will be moving to New York in less than 2 months to attend Rock Nation School of Music. So,
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then, as far as entrepreneurship and music, I got into these things when I was 13 years old. So, around that time, music. I mean, I've been a music fanatic since like I was young, but I got into it professionally at 13. Like as far as booking my own shows, uh,
Mm.
my mom took me to my first show. That was the day after I turned 14,
Oh,
and I'll never forget it. That was legendary for me. Yeah, that, and then I got my entrepreneurial spirit from my mom. Like
hmm.
that's my rock. When I say that lady is my everything, like taught me the ins and outs, and then even just me taking the initiative to learn everything on my own. But if I had questions, if I needed anything, she helped me with my music career. She helped me with learning the business and doing all the things that I'm doing. And then me being who I am, I'm a fast learner. So I took everything and just ran with it.
Yeah.
you know, so that's pretty much why I started, and I'm expanding. Um in a great era of my life. Just, we killing it right now. So I love it.
So first of all, congratulations on everything that you're doing, especially at the age that you're at, which is so good. I mean, when I was 17, I don't think I was even thinking about businesses. So it just shows that you are thinking of your future, which is really cool, but you're enjoying your time. So when do you get time to actually be a teenager and just have fun and kick back?
Um
Because you need to do that.
I do need to do that. And you just reminded me that I need to do that more. Like I'm so I'm so into my future and thinking about what I want. I don't really be like, hey, let me just go out and just
Yeah.
I never do that. But I do have a boyfriend, and shout out him because me and him we own a luxury clothing brand together and we hustle together. So we he brings that out of me. Like
Mm,
he brings the youth and the me wanting to uh go out in windows and scream riding downtown. He makes me want to do those things. And then I have friends who aren't in business but are very like in tune with themselves as far as spiritually and know who they are, but are fun and I can go hang out with. I do have those friends. um we go out to like escape rooms and we running downtown, and we just doing a bunch of like young adult things. So it's
yeah.
like I have those group of people and I'm
Mhm.
forever grateful for them. So at times I do it. I'm my character, I can't do that every weekend. I'm not that teenager where I can go out every weekend, but when I do it, I go hard at it. But I may not
Right.
do it until another 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I got my times, but I'm appreciative of every aspect, including that teenager aspect and that young adult aspect.
Mm.
I love it. It's cool when I do it.
Yeah. You actually remind me of this young girl in Black Lightning, the youngest one.
Yeah. I know you
You
talking.
don't remind me of her for some reason. I don't know. I just get those vibes with you. Might be the same energy of kind of like just really outgoing and really grounded and all of that. I think that's what it is. Um, so you mentioned that you're 17, you've got all of these things going for you, and it's an exciting time for you, and you're really busy and everything else. What made you decide to think about business and follow this career route at such an early age? Because
Um,
you started at 14. What prompted you to do that? Other than obviously being good at it and having that passion.
um, I just want more for myself.
Mm,
Like I've always just and then I'm not knocking people who work 9 to 5s
mm,
because you have to do what you got to do, and I respect even you being able to do that. Me personally, I can't. I just can't. I'm too free spirited to be stuck in a routine like that. Like
yeah.
I have my organized and up to date side, and then I also got the side that's just like I got a bunch of random creative ideas, and I want to implement them whenever I feel like it. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
hopping
definitely.
into that side, it has been it's just I want more for the people around me. I got siblings um who are on my dad's side, they're 6, and then I
Hmm.
got some stepbrothers. So me seeing them, I want to be able to show them something that they've never seen before. I want to
Yeah.
repay my mom. I want to put everybody that's been on my team, especially like people like my personal producer. His name is Jay. Been working with me since we got started in music together. Like that,
Hmm.
me and him like this. So it's like I want to put him on the same scale as I want to be on. I got visions. I want my whole team to be put on. So I want to be responsible for that. I took on that responsibility super young. Don't know where it came from, honestly. It just kind of was there. Like I want to do what I want to do and be creative
Yeah.
and just expand at my rate, on my time, at my expense. So I don't know. It's just there. Yeah. It's just
I
kind of
think it's really interesting to see that. But also, I want to ask you, what birth month were you born? Like,
September.
okay.
September 20th. Big Virgo. Big Virgo. Shout out all the Virgos.
Yeah, that's why so focused at a very young age. And so grounded. I think that's what Virgos are really like. I'm a Virgo moon, so um deep down really like that. But then you are, yeah, definitely a Virgo. So let's move on. You said you're 17. You sound really serious. You've got a boyfriend, you're starting the business together. What challenges do you have, or have you ever had, or tell us a bit more about what you've found working with your with a loved one, with a partner, especially.
Um that that has been a journey.
Mm,
It is still it's fresh. So it's like even in the first couple of months it was interesting because uh he's just kind of getting into entrepreneurship. We started with like trading in the foreign exchange market and building groups and helping people learn about these financial ideas and concepts. So I kind of got to see his entrepreneurial side then. But one day we were just talking and we was like, let's start a business. And then, hey, we came
wow.
up with the idea. He's very creative. I learned that about him. He's very creative. Um, he's coachable and teachable. Like
Mm,
because I have more experience than he does, he's very open to listening to learning about these different systems that I had to learn.
mm,
And it takes he understands like it takes time. But I'm seeing him just like blossom through that, and he's already into sports, so we're both in the entertainment industry, just two separate
yeah,
fields in the entertainment industry.
yeah.
So um like seeing that creativity spark out of him has been wonderful on my end. Me and him been dealing with each other since 13, 14 years old on a serious level.
Wow.
This is like ongoing, like this isn't like no fresh relationship. I've known him since I've been like 6 years. I got just knowing him and being together for almost 4 years, like since like baby teenagers. So it's like it's a crazy story. It seems
Yeah.
unrealistic, but it's happening. So and I love him too. That's my rock. That's forever my best friend. Like
That is so cool. I mean, how did you meet?
we met. It's so crazy. We met in middle school. That's when I first got to Memphis, Tennessee. We met in middle school. I was in fifth or sixth, and he was in sixth or seventh. Somewhere around that time, my memory's kind of trash, but don't mind me. um, yeah, we met around that time. The first interaction we've ever had, I remember, is when we had like an arm wrestle at like a book fair. I swear to God, it's so random. but but it was that, and then we had our the little middle school stuff, like nothing crazy. Um, grew up back and forth trying to be friends, trying to like my attraction towards him was always like very very strong just as a person. Um,
Mm,
and we we've been through our stuff. We've been through a lot of stuff. I mean, that's typical teenage relationships for you, though.
Yeah.
But he's helped me grow and mold me into the young woman that I am today. He's taught me a lot about life. And I'm pretty sure he can say the same on his end. Like, yo, she's taught me a lot. And we continue to just build the empires that we do have separately. He has sports, I have music, and then we have these businesses and just this concept of uh black love, black
Mm,
luxury, all of that. Like, we pushing all of that. We pushing that image because, especially the way the world is right now,
yeah.
um, you don't really too much see that on a good scale, a good example of that. So, um, again, I'm not my age here. He's not 18 in his head either. He's very advanced for his age, so am I. So that's why we click so well. But other than that, that's just how that's been. Like, we good. Always
Mm,
been good. And I'm appreciative of his presence in my life. Without him and knowing who he is, I don't know where I would be mentally. So
yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love that boy, man.
You've actually just touched on so many things, and I want us to really speak about relationships from that perspective, not the age perspective, because I just think that when people are in love, people grow so much.
Hmm.
Um, there's no better school of life other than love. It's the one place in relationships that so much happens, and you just transition and become either better people or um, worse, and worse people. And I just want to hear about your experience and what you actually see happening with people your age or with regards to love in general. Kind of
Um,
like what has worked for you guys and what continues to work for you, and what are the challenges that you face in there?
that's a really, really good question. That's a really good question. What continues to work for us is, and this is gonna sound super cliche, but communication.
Mm,
The most underrated concept I have ever heard of. Like, people, oh, you just
yeah.
gotta do it. Like, no, you're gonna have a bunch of misunderstandings. A lot of our
Yeah.
arguments come from I didn't fully understand or he didn't fully understand what was happening. And uh tempers, you gotta let all of
Mm,
that go. Ego, let it go.
mm,
You can't have one in a relationship, especially a serious one when you're trying to build with somebody. It has to be non-existent. What this relationship has taught me is the concept of humility.
mm,
Have to be humble enough to say, you know what, I was wrong. You know what, I should have opened my ears up a tad bit more. You know what, I should have done this. You know what, let me try to do this next time so this doesn't happen again. You got to be humble enough to understand that, or else the relationship is going to be toxic. Been
mm.
there, done that. Not fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see that with my generation specifically, people between the ages of 16 and 24 are attracted to toxic relationships. Oh, I like when he's controlling, and I like when she be yelling and cursing. And I see those different kind of concepts, and I understand it. Doesn't mean I condone it, but I understand where it's coming from.
Yes. Yeah.
um a lot of that stuff stems from, and this is me speaking as one of those people who has like experienced that
Mm,
dynamic. A lot of those concepts come from trauma.
yeah.
um like, those are just trauma responses. Like, for me, dealing with abuse in my life
Hmm.
led to me um wanting to like combat with him sometimes, and wanting to feel like I'm uh in a place of authority because I felt like underdog when that was happening to me. You know,
Yes.
so I had to catch myself like, okay, I can't do that with him because he didn't do nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make sure I dial it back so I'm not displaying this behavior as if it's okay, because it's not.
Mm, mm,
It's a certain level of maturity that you have to have in order to be able to even see that. And then, though that being one of the challenges, to answer that question as well, that being one of the challenges is being able to catch yourself, or when you get caught by that other person, being able to say, you know what, I don't even like what you're saying, but you're not wrong. Not gonna like everything
I
yo.
like that. I actually like that. I like how you phrase that. It's acknowledging that I don't like what you're saying, but you're not wrong, and that's a good starting point instead of um not being aware. But then it takes a lot to be aware. Um, what caused you to be aware that that's kind of like what you were doing, and that's where it was stemming from? Because some people go through their whole lifetime until they're in their 40s and 50s before they're able to actually start dealing with this. I mean, I'm a transformation coach, and these are areas that I actually touch on. So hearing you say that, having that level of awareness at such a young age and knowing that this is not what you want and this is how you want to respond really astounds me, because some of the much older people don't really have that. They're still struggling with that.
Right, right, and I see that a lot too, especially with family and
Yeah.
seeing friends, families. Like a lot of people don't want to admit, like, you know what, this isn't right. You know what,
Yeah.
this is affecting my relationships. Let me catch this before I lose somebody that I love.
Yeah.
So, that level of awareness came from me having to mature so early in these types of situations, especially in situations where I have to protect people who are more vulnerable than myself. Um,
Mm.
and just going back to the concept of wanting better for myself,
Mm-hmm.
that's not just financially. That's not
Yeah.
just business. This is a whole round thing that I want. I don't want to be somebody who's manipulative. I don't want to be somebody who exercises power over people mentally, physically, financially. Like that's not who I am at my core.
Yeah.
Um, and it took me a minute to just say, you know what, who do I want to be?
Mm.
What person do I want to portray to other people? Because let's just say, for example, and this is a real life example,
Mm.
people when they see me, they see dominance off rip. Like they they don't see somebody who's reserved, or even though that's actually who I am at my core, people don't see that. People see, okay, she's assertive.
No, I think they misunderstand that you're literally just standing in your power. That's all it is. You're not you're not dominant, you're not none of that. You're just standing in your power. You are not backing down, and you're not ashamed to say this is who I am. And
Right.
because speaking to you, you're very aware, and there's some things you will not do to people. You're just really standing in your power. That's something that people are not used to, especially for a black woman.
Yeah, it's not very common, especially at this
Yeah.
age. That's
Mm.
why everything is just so rare. Like I'm looked at as a rare breed by so many people, age wise, personality,
Yeah.
uh, sun signs. Like it's looked at as, oh, she's different. And I get two responses when that happens. I get a, oh, I admire her, and I'm low key kind of hating on her because I want it to be like that, or I got a child that I want to be like that. So I get two responses. It's always been those two responses. I've always I've heard from people
Mm.
um that they'll like tell my mom, like, oh, you got her doing all this stuff because of this and this and that. Like, you people assume that what I'm doing is living in my mom's image. That's where things get messed up at. And my mom telling them, like, I gotta tell Devyne to chill out because she
Mm.
wanna do so much. It's not me, it's her. So it's like when people see somebody my age wanting so much, it's like they parents gotta be making them do it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, sometimes
Yeah.
people just want to do what they want to do for them. Like, yeah, so I just feel like going back to the point of just people standing in their power, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
And if you feel like somebody's going to be offended by you doing that, I know this is going to sound real harsh, but who cares? Who cares about what somebody think about what you doing with? It's your life at the end of the day. When it comes down to it, whoever you got to deal with, you don't have to deal with nobody else at the end of the day. You have to deal with yourself.
Yeah.
So when you deal with yourself, do you want to be able to say, dang, I should have did this?
Mm.
Dang, why didn't I do this? Or you want to say, you know what, regardless of what they said or how they felt, I did what I felt was best for me, and they can kick rocks.
Mm.
You see what
You
I'm
know,
saying?
it's so true. And I think what I've actually seen is women don't feel confident in standing in their power. So one of the things that I'm really excited about, especially us having this conversation and meeting you, is knowing that you're going into the music industry, knowing who you are, and standing in your power, which means you're going to be making decisions which are best for you. And also, kind of like, even as you're doing life right now, you're doing it from a point of view where it's, no one is forcing me to do this, and I'm going to be doing things that work for me, and are for my highest good. And this is something that many people don't have going for them, because they gave away their power at such a young age. So how have you always been like this growing up?
Uh, no, not really.
What changed? Where did this change?
um, Awareness.
Yeah.
Seeing that I didn't. Seeing that, like, cause I'm that type of person where stuff happens, but it take me a minute to fully get everything.
Yeah.
And once I fully get it, it's like, even just recently, it's been times where I'm like, people that I trusted betrayed me in so many different ways. Family, mostly family.
Mm.
But
It's
uh,
always.
it's always, I don't know why. Like, my mom said it recently, it's always the people closest to you. Like,
Yeah.
always. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I
They're,
felt that.
they're the ones who can drive the knife, because you can't do it from far. It's
Yeah, you
all.
can't do
Yeah.
it. And I saw this quote. So glad you just said that. Saw this quote that said, don't watch your enemies because you know your enemies. You already know
Mm.
what they own. You
Mhm.
gotta watch people that's standing right next to you. It be
Yeah.
the people. It don't be enemies. Like, it don't be what my generation call ops. It don't be ops.
Yeah.
it be family and friends, and that's sad to say out loud. Like, that's really sad to say out loud. Like, I just hated myself for saying that out loud, but it's the truth.
It
So
is
it's
the
like,
truth.
you
I'm
know,
sure many people watching this or listening to this later on will really identify with that. They will know, because it's something that's happened to them. And I think when you start doing something for yourself is when you will see it. If you're not doing anything for yourself, if you're laying dormant, you're never going to see it. You will see it when you start moving different in life.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, I sense that, you went through some spiritual awakening. And what was it for you?
uh that spiritual awakening is so many things I can say about it. Um
Like, just share one of them. Because it's, when we talk about awareness, it comes from, obviously, it's some form of spiritual awakening.
um Seeing what happened to me as far as being somebody who's dealt with sexual harassment and dealing with things like that, abuse, um of like different kinds of abuse. Looking back at that and seeing how that was starting to affect my day-to-day life, including when I was in school,
Mm.
my relationships, especially like with my mom, my boyfriend, my friends, seeing how I was taking that and transferring it, um, directly seeing that effect, I was like, yeah, no.
Mm.
And it was grunt work. It was
Mm.
grunt work. I stepped away from religion a couple years ago, and I stepped into spirituality.
What
And
religion were you in?
I was in Christianity.
Oh, girl, preach.
Yeah, that's typically like the answer you would get from the majority of people that are black. Oh, I was Christian. Or I was looking at it, and the environments that I was in were not healthy.
Yeah.
And that's not to say there's anything wrong with Christianity. You got your beliefs. It's just the particular environments that I was in, the beliefs and the systems that they were pushing. My energy, I'm very intuitive. So my energy was like, yeah, no. I was trying to bit myself into it, but I'm like, I can't even front. Like, this is not it. And that's just where that came from. And again, going back to that point, spirituality is grunt work. Like, all
Mm.
like nights of crying. I dealt
Yeah.
with suicide, depression, anxiety, all of these different things. And that typically comes with spirituality. You feel
Yeah.
the whole nine.
Yeah.
And it hurts like crap. Like, anybody that's been through that can say that. Like, yo, it's no joke.
Yeah.
And one thing I taught myself and one thing that I learned within that is that you have to allow yourself to be human. Like,
Mm.
it's okay. And this is for men too. Like, this isn't just a women's thing.
Mm.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be
Yeah.
angry about things that have happened. You are not wrong about that. You are extremely valid in how you feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, how you go about that is up to you. Are you going to choose to sit and dwell in it? That's a choice, period.
Mm.
Or are you going to say, you know what? Let me feel how I'm gonna feel. Let me get all of this stuff out, and let me plan my steps ahead so I can know how to heal from this. Also, to that point, healing is a never-ending journey. That's a
Oh yeah.
lifelong journey. You may be 80 years old crying about something that happened 60 years ago. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not like this either. It's not linear. It's very here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very like this. It's very up and down. So you may feel like, hey, I'm that girl today, or I'm that guy today, ain't nobody seeing me. I'm killing it. I'm healed. And then 2 days later, you may find yourself scrunched up in the bed, crying your eyeballs out. That's okay. That's human. So I had to teach myself that, like, yo, it's okay to be human. It's okay to have those up and down days. It's okay to feel human emotions. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't make nobody
Right.
make you feel bad about that. Like, anybody that's trying to make you feel bad about, especially my men, anybody that's trying to make you feel bad about crying and expressing your emotions, get away from them. Same thing with women. That's a people's thing. Get away
Mm.
from anybody that's trying to make you feel bad about being human, because they don't have your best interest at heart. I said what I said.
Yeah. No, 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 but it is true. And and speaking into spirituality especially, I was also in the church and I left and went through a whole deconstructing process because I was in there for like 7 years and I was like really deep into it. And when I came out, it was that whole process of feeling suicidal, feeling hopeless, and feeling like just really being down for a very long time. And I
Word.
think it's something they call the dark night of the soul. And it happens in so many different times in our lives. And, to the point that when I actually left, because when I was there, really, I was an international minister. Like I was overseeing like international churches and stuff like that. It was so insane. um but the things that I saw in there, and I was moving more towards spirituality than religion. So I totally get what you're saying, because spirituality is life. It's the air we breathe, it's the nature, it's everything
Right.
is around us, right? And it's one of those things that I'm actually also teaching people, because I was a spiritual mentor, and it's one of the things that I'm actually going to be doing as well, because I find that when people leave religion, not everyone is so intuitive like you and I, where you actually just take yourself out and start going through the process and just trusting in that. There's so many people who still get really taken advantage of in between that, that time where they're
Right.
trying to find themselves. They're pulled into different cults which call themselves spirituality, but they're really not. It's just another form of religion, just grasping at people and holding on to people. So it's really important what you shared, because I think it's a journey. I think we usually start with religion because you learn what is aware. For some
Right.
people, that is the path that they actually go through, and then you leave when it's time to get into something bigger, because you can't get into something bigger and become who you are if you're in religion. And it sounds like it's what's happening to you, especially connecting to yourself and being spiritual and being in the entertainment industry and running the creative energy. You
Right.
have to be free. You really have to be free.
Yeah. I try to keep that concept ongoing throughout all of my ideals, including
Yeah.
spirituality. I respect that spirituality is an individual journey,
Yeah.
instead of me just taking one's beliefs from a certain amount of years ago and just saying, you know what, this is right. That's just me personally. I don't really like just taking on. I started. So how it started, I started questioning things. Like, who said that this was right? Like, who said? Like, okay, so like, let's say one belief is that being homosexual is a sin.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who said that? Like, did God really say, "Oh, if you're gay, you're going to inferno"? Like, who said that? You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, okay,
Who actually wrote that?
God didn't write that. That's a human. That's what I'm saying. Religion is a human. That's a man's world. Men created that. So I encourage everybody, even if you choose to stay within the religion that you grew up in, question
Yeah,
everything. Think
definitely.
about everything. You're not wrong. I believe
Mm,
in the Bible, it even tells you to question things. So it's like,
it does, yeah.
question everything. Like, regardless of religion and spirituality, be curious. There's nothing wrong. Like, why people be saying, "Oh, it's wrong to be curious"? No, it's not. It's human
Mm,
nature.
it
How
is.
is how is God gonna say, "Well, don't be curious"? Like, that's nature. That's real. It's authentic. I don't believe
Mm,
any God would say, "Oh, don't be curious." Like,
yeah.
so just explore, pick out, even if, like, okay, so this too, I believe in karma.
Mm,
It's not a Christian concept. So even if you choose to stay religious or if you choose to be spiritual, pick and choose your beliefs. It doesn't have to be all within one religion. You can mix and match. It's cool. Like,
yeah.
it's
Pick
cool.
what serves you. It's true. It is true.
Like,
I
pick
mean,
what serves you. That's the best way to say that.
yeah, yeah, because we are so unique and we're so different, and what works for you is not going to work for me because we're on totally different journeys, and I think it's really good to be able to respect all of that in
Right.
our individual journeys. So I want to actually speak about something that you touched on, growing up, being in school, and I want to touch on this because it's happened to many women, and sometimes women question themselves and they don't know why it's happening. And you spoke about, the sexual harassment, and I wanted us to talk about that a little bit because one of the things that I actually observed is most of the women who go through sexual harassment have got high sexual energy, and the high sexual energy really is a creative energy. That's all
Mm,
it is, and it's really high on certain people. Do you find that that is true for you?
yes.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm.
And again, the same thing I've been saying this whole time. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's normal. Don't criminalize yourself for it. It's you know what,
yeah.
it is what it is. That mentality has given me so much peace. You know what? It is what it is. I can't trip on it. That mentality
Yeah.
has given me so much peace. That's number one. Number two, um, the way it's just normal for women to go through that, and it just sucks. Um, and I've seen that you either get two reactions out of somebody being sexually molested, harassed, assaulted, whatever you want to call it. Um, you get hypersexuality. You get one whose sex drive is like through like the freaking roof, and
Yeah.
then you
I
get
mean,
another person that just don't want no parts. That's like, I
yeah.
don't really. You get one of the two. So and again, I'm very open about who I am. Like you said, I ended up on the side where sexual energy is very high. And I had to accept that myself. Like, I'm like, am I normal? Like, do I have an addiction? And I
No.
had to tell myself, like, nah, like, you good. It just kind of happens. And healing from being um messed with by peers and being sexualized, uh again, mostly by peers, never by adults. Never dealt with that. If you have dealt with that,
Mm.
sending my love to you. But I just kind of had to, that kind of made me introverted. That made me like, I don't really feel like dealing with nobody. I don't want to be around people. I actually dealt with recently, I'm slowly overcoming this, just a fear of men. Like, it makes me uncomfortable to be around a bunch of dudes at one time. I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, not really interested. And you know, luckily my boyfriend is just one of the very few men in my life that I actually trust with my
Mm,
life.
mm,
Probably the only one.
mm.
But um I know it's a bunch of women out there that's just like, I don't like men. I,
Yeah.
I
They don't feel safe, and I think, one of the reasons that I actually bring this up, and it's such a cool thing because it's a topic that you were open to speak about, because I find many people don't want to talk about this, and it's really nothing wrong with it. And I think if you don't teach young people about sex from a very early age, and when young girls are growing up, and some people start sexualizing them, or they start saying, or they start behaving more mature, instead of actually teaching them what is actually going on, they actually tell them off, or they try to demonize them. And that is the wrong thing to do, because when you do that, you're not teaching that child what is actually going on. You
right,
know, when someone has very high sex energy, or has a very high sex drive, it just means they have a lot of creative energy, and the best thing to do is to be able to find a creative outlet for it,
right.
and which you have obviously done, in three outlets.
Yeah, like from like a bunch of different stuff. Like, yeah, I found a way to express how I feel, and that's why I chose music, even though it runs through my blood practically. Another reason that I love music so much is that I can do and say whatever I feel like doing and saying. Like, who gonna tell me, oh, you can't do that? Like, you can't tell me not. Like, my voice, my choices, my recording booth, like, I can do what I want. So it's like, why not? Like, that's like the beauty of creativity. It's like, who gonna tell you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I so definitely love that. Let's talk about money.
oh,
Um, yeah, we've got to talk
it's
about money, because we're talking, relationships, working with our partner, sexual energy, money, all of this, spirituality, all of this is connected, and we have to talk about money. What do you think about money?
my overall concept of money is that is it's a lot of branches. It's like money is like the bark of a tree, and then you got
Mm,
branches that symbolize intention,
mm,
because intention is very important. And I feel like going back to talking about humility, um, you have to get to a point in your life where not only from a logical standpoint you know how to manage it, but from a spiritual standpoint, you're not you're not using it as an abuse of power. You're not trying to go against the laws of nature with
mm,
and feeling like, oh, I can kind of do whatever, say whatever, hurt whoever, do
yeah.
whatever I want to do because I got a certain amount of money to my name or my net worth is this. Like it just depends on intention. I know what my intentions. I plan on giving back to my community. I have a bunch of ideas on nonprofits, making sure that my siblings, my mom is straight, that I'm straight. I want to travel. That's mainly where my money. I'm like, yo, I gotta do this because unfortunately, you need money to like travel and get passports and do all this
Yeah.
extra. So that's me. Um, and I hope that everybody that I come across, and I wish that everybody in the entire world had the intention of just wanting to live their life on their own terms and help other people. But unfortunately, everybody isn't like that.
Mm.
So that's just my take on it. Um, because I swear, if money wasn't needed to travel, I would not be in the United States. I swear to God, I would. But uh,
You'd be
that's my
you'd
overall
be
take.
somewhere else. You'd be
But
somewhere.
I was
So
gonna
have
be
you?
somewhere else. Like I want to go to a million different places. So, and that's
Have,
still the goal. That's still the goal. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
I just would probably have done it at like 15. But
I hear you. Yeah. So have you had this money conversation with your partner?
yes, yes,
Mm.
yes, yes,
Boundaries in money.
yes.
How you're gonna be spending money? How
Yeah.
was it like?
Okay, so yeah, we talk about money management a lot. Like we're just now getting into the point of budgeting. Especially from the business perspective, we have to budget within our luxury clothing brands. Business,
I lost you there. Can't
yeah,
quite hear.
you still good? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
So again, we talk about money management, especially within the business that we do have together. So we got to talk about what we got to pay for and or what is it, ROIs, all the things that business consists of. Uh we talk about making sure that the majority of the things that we spend our money on is investments in our future.
Mm.
Um I know a lot of people my age is like, oh, I'm just gonna blow money on. Let me get a bunch of clothes. I'm gonna order a bunch of food. I'm gonna like, okay, that's cool. And I had my little era of doing that too. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't splurge money. But
We've all done that.
yeah, we've all had that era where like we literally ordered all of our meals for like a week or 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah, that was me at one point in time. But as I grow, I'm like, okay, Devyne, do this right. Um, and I'm looking into all types of like passive income. Like we talk about passive income like crazy. That's why we were like into trading the foreign exchange market because that was that money where we didn't have to do much.
Mm.
Uh, Trading, just now getting into the concept of real estate, just a bunch of different things where I'm just setting up those systems in the midst of having those systems work for me.
Yeah.
With my Devyne Business Consulting, the media consulting company, getting Lusso Grandeur, that's the name of the luxury clothing brand, getting that set up. So after I set everything up, I ain't got to look at it no more. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? I'm just kind of overseeing things as a CEO does. So that and just doing everything else. We talk about all of these things, and he plays soccer, so we talk about okay, what series are we trying to, especially he going to Italy to play soccer, so it's different than it is in America.
Yeah.
So the systems are like ranked as it always is in sports. So we're like, okay, the goal is for you to get to this one. So you can be making around this amount of money and you'll be able to like we talk about all these things all the time. So and it looks different for everybody, obviously,
Yeah.
because everybody is in different career choices and jobs and things of that nature. So I encourage everybody that has partners, even if you got a team of people that you're trying to build with, talk to them about money, talk to them about
Yeah.
financial management. It is extremely important. But yeah, we have those conversations like almost daily. Like when we say
Yeah.
we plan and we don't play about planning. So
Mm, mm. I think it's one of the most important things actually within the relationship, especially if you're going to be working together,
right,
um, and factoring that in different contracts and everything else, because at the end of the day, even though you do have a relationship, when it comes to business, it's a totally different relationship to the one that you actually have um, at home, or because that's your business partner and that's it. So it's really good to hear that you're putting that into place, because many people don't actually think about that, especially when they're in relationships. And for such
right.
a young person, it's I'm blown away. Um,
Thank
I am blown away. I mean, I didn't expect you to be 17. I thought you were actually young, but I didn't expect you to be 17. And you haven't blown me away because you're 17. You've blown me away because of your thought process. Um, you have such an old soul, and
so
just the
much.
way you approach, yeah, the way you approach things, the way you think about things, and just the lightheartedness of everything else. I've been feeding off your energy. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can vibe with this. And I haven't actually felt like this in a long time when I'm doing interviews, and it's kind of like the kind of energy that I really love um, having during interviews. And so I've really enjoyed this conversation. So what should we expect from you? What is Devyne working towards right now?
Um, a lot. And
Where can we find your music and your clothing line and everything
I got
else?
all them links. It's a lot. I know. I'm sorry that I got all this stuff, but my personal is the same on every single platform. I did that to just make life easier on everybody.
Yeah,
So that includes I am Devyne. So that's
I'm
IAMDV.
going to put the details there.
Yes, yeah. So IAMDVYNEE. So hope that's very easy. Um and then what I'll do is on my story for the next 24 hours. So when people see this, I'll tag all of the different accounts. So we looking at three businesses. They're spelled a little different than most businesses are, but MooShooBeatz Productions, that's the music production company, founder and CEO here. Vice President of Devyne Business Consulting. I'm gonna put all of these things here, just hoping you catch on to the names. And then Lusso Grandeur, that is spelled a lot, like that is very different. I'm gonna send you the information for that one, but I'm gonna put those on my story so you guys can go follow those pages if you want to keep up with those businesses specifically. But again, same thing on all platforms. I am Devyne.
So what should we look for? I mean, you're working on music. What are you working on at the moment that we
I'm
can
currently working on
anticipate to see?
yeah, yeah. I'm currently working on an EP by the name of Black Heart. It's a long awaited project, but it is coming out very, 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 very soon. I'm not disclosing any details just yet, but y'all can expect it from me in the next couple of months. Working on getting all the businesses part of the metaverse, Web3, NFTs, crypto. Also, the project Black Heart will be released with Bentley Records, Bentley Gang. Shout out to Luca Day. Shout out Bentley Records. We in there. Got a lot of stuff going on with them. So I'm very, very excited about that. And you guys will be getting more content from me in the next couple of months being in New York. Since that is where I'm moving.
Yeah.
Uh so you guys, it's bunch of content coming, bunch of new updates with the businesses. You can expect new beats to come out with MooShooBeatz, more deals to come out with Devyne Business, and more content with Lusso Grandeur. So we
Awesome. Amazing. And this is what we're going to close with because it's just come up to me as well. Something that you actually talked about when we were talking about relationships and love. You talked about Black love.
mm-hmm.
Why is it so important at this time to showcase or to um, elevate Black love? And I think I'm going to have you again with your partner to talk about Black love because I think it's
Of
so important.
course, he will be excited. He's gonna be excited. um, Black love is it's the essence of life. And I say
Mm,
that because it's so vibrant. The energy from Black love is so vibrant. It's so pure, authentic. I love it. And I'm hoping that especially my generation can come back to a point where we really realize that we need each other.
mm,
And it's important to have respect, to have communication, to have not just communication, but comprehension, to understand people. Um, and to really just vibrate out of, even if it's not relationship based, it could just be love from a,
yes.
I respect you as a human being regardless of how you identify, what makes you different, what makes you unique. I respect you as a human being simply because you're a human being just like I am.
Yeah.
So if I feel like the Black community really, I want us to come back to that point. I want us to come back to a point where we really push these ideas. Black men and women and children, non-binary, whatever you identify as, it's important to really understand just the essence of life. Respect is life. Communication is life. Comprehension is life. Understanding, compassion, everything is that's just the essence of nature. So if
Mm.
I just believe that that is extremely important for us to understand as a community, and I feel like that'll take us forward. In terms of relationships, we gotta come together as whoever you're in a relationship with, make sure that you're really you're emphasizing how important it is to stick together, and stick together in respect, not stick together as in you disrespect me and you expect me
Yeah.
to. Let's get that concept understood. Not you disrespect me multiple times and whatever else, and I choose to stay with you. We stick together. Not that. As in,
Yeah.
even in misunderstandings, there's forgiveness.
Mm.
Even in miscommunication, we can come back and say, you know what, I should have did this better. I'm gonna make sure I don't make this mistake again. And we got a good understanding of that. It's the only way relationships can stay afloat. Not through
Mm.
disrespect though. Anybody,
Yeah.
period, who disrespects you, leave. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Definitely. How, okay, from your experience, obviously talking about black love and the, the black community,
mhm.
where do you think that things have, where do you think there's been a disconnect, especially with the younger generation?
um, social media.
Mm.
I feel like we see all of these different concepts and ideas, and
Mm.
it looks good or it's a trend, so we run with it immediately.
Mm.
Especially with women, I see like while I am for women empowerment, I am for not staying in spaces where you're disrespected. I'm all for that.
Definitely.
I do also believe that we need to come to a understanding with men, and men need to do the same with us, as far as making sure that black men respect women wanting to be free, wanting to express themselves. Um, and we need to have an open conversation about insecurity. I feel like insecurity has been blasted all over social media, and now instead of understanding it, we clown it. Oh, you got an insecurity, ha ha. It's not funny. It stems from somewhere, and I feel
Mm.
like once we come to that understanding and it's a serious conversation, we can move forward. But I feel like social media is the main culprit for the
Mm.
disconnect between understanding that concept of, oh, I understand it, I may not agree with it, but I get it. Social media completely ruined it.
Yeah,
Like dead the whole thing. So I feel like if
definitely.
we let that influence go from here and it's not attached to our everyday brain like thinking, then
Mm.
we can get somewhere. But that's
Definitely.
community. That's a community effort. That's not a one person effort. No.
Yeah, definitely. I totally love that and I respect that. Thank you so much for making time and, spending an hour with us and, just releasing all of that good vibes, energies, information, sharing yourself and your story. And I really look forward to seeing more of you and more of what you do. And I'm definitely going to start following you on social media as well and look at the amazing work you do. I love fashion. I love all of that stuff. And, you know, love music. Can't sing to save my life, but love really good music and all of that. So I look forward to hearing all of the good stuff. And thank you so much, Devyne, for making time.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. This was another blessing that just came through. So I appreciate you for respecting uh me just as a person, my age, showing me love for it. Like that's greatly appreciated. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that. Uh and I'm looking forward to seeing more episodes. I'm most definitely gonna follow the podcast. Like this is dope, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna put it all over my platforms to help you get more
thank
listeners and to expand your brand. And whatever you need, we here. We locked in forever. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. My Virgo sister. Well, yeah, Virgo in some way. Um, thank you so much. So, thank you guys for watching this episode. I will put all the links for Devyne so you can follow her work and hit her up on social media and get to know more about her work, support everything that she does, and get into her clothing line. She is such an amazing woman. Invite her onto your podcast, feature her everywhere because she is definitely going to go to greater heights. I can see that you're a star in the making.
thank
Um,
you.
And to everyone else, we do have our membership waitlist that is open. I have put the link, and I'll put the link in the comments as well, so you can log into it and put your details. The waitlist is for the spiritual membership. So we're going to be talking about spirituality, growing in spirituality. We're going to be talking about business, and we're also going to be having Devyne coming on there to talk about, music and just tapping into your creativity in business, because it's something that we do need, and just really grow this spiritual community so that people can elevate, and get to greater heights. So I'll put the link in the comments. Put your details. We start in September. That's just the wait list so that you get the information before we bring anyone else on. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.